Hello, weirdos. So today, I have tea, in my wonderful yellow floral mug. I love this mug. I think this mug is so cute. I'm just doing English breakfast tea because the place that is super close to me, they don't have a huge ton of tea variety, and I am not happy about that. I would love there to be more, but unfortunately I do not stock the Target that I live by. And it's still pretty hot. Okay, so today I have a book haul for you. I can't see any of the titles, so I don't really know like what grand statements that I can make about a lot of these books. I was well into my move to Boston at the point that I bought a lot of these books, and I know a lot of them are gay and queer. Let's just get started. And number one is Dark Rise by C.S. Pacat, and this is a YA. It's gay. It says on the back, Ancient World of Magic, so it's fantasy, along with its great battles between light and dark. The magic has disappeared. As a dark boy, Will is about to discover that it has only been lying in wait. Will's life is forever changed when a servant tells him of his destiny to fight beside the stewards who have sworn to protect humanity of Dark King. Blah blah blah. Can Will and the last heroes of the light prevent the dark fate that destroyed the old world from returning? It's gay and it's fantasy, and I was really interested by the work of this author, C.S. Pacat, and the stuff that they have done with their work in a series that I'm going to mention later. But in the Captive Prince series, I really liked that series. So, but at the point of when I bought this book, I had not read that series yet. So, yeah, I don't know what that says about me, but yes, gay fantasy. So that's one of the first books that we're looking at. The next book is Pachinko. This is by Min Jin Lee. This is a saga of a family in Korea, and it spans lots of decades. It's huge. It's thick. I want to say it's over 600 long. Oh no. It's like 400, and I saw this in a local bookstore, and I thought it looked really, really interesting. I did not know that it was being adapted, and now I want to wait to watch the adaptation until I've read this, which I don't plan to do anytime soon. So yeah, and I think that what got me about this is that the conceit of kind of how it all starts is that this one woman figures out that she's pregnant. And the person who got her pregnant is married, and I was like, ooh, there's tea there. I'm here for it. I do not proclaim to be above that. It's one thing I've learned as being a high school teacher. Students tell me that there's drama. I'm like, ooh, tell me, spill the tea. What's going on? I am very, very interested in knowing all of the stuff that my students have to spill. Okay, the next book, I'm trying to pull these off the pile without them all like collapsing. The next book is The Lost Dreamer. This is by Liz Huerta. And this is based off of a lot of, I want to say, Mesoamerican myth. This is the bookstore that I got it from, More Than Words, which is the same place that I got Pachinko. So, Indir is a dreamer. She's descended from a long line of seers, able to see beyond reality. She carries a rare gift of dreaming the truth. When the beloved King Ans dies, his son and heir has no respect for this time-honored tradition. This is a stunning fantasy inspired by ancient Mesoamerica. Look at that, I was right. This gripping debut introduced a lineage of seers and defiantly resisting and shifting the patriarchal state that would see them destroyed. So that seemed really interesting to me. Yeah, but this looked really, really interesting, and that is why I picked it up. Okay, the next one I bought purely off of a recommendation from a student, and it is a chunky boy, and that is The Priory of the Orange Tree. I felt like I'd been seeing this pop up for literal years, like before the pandemic, on like recommendation lists and stuff like that. This is by Samantha Shannon, and nobody told me that it was queer. Nobody told me this is sapphic, and I'm upset. I'm just like, what? This is sapphic and beautiful and wonderful, and why on earth have I? This is like the first time that I've heard of it. Why was one of my students have to recommend this to me? And the student is a freshman, and I told her, I was like, okay, I'm gonna read this before you graduate, so then we can talk about it. So that is the commitment that I have made to this chunkster, which I swear to God seems a lot longer in paperback than it does in hardcover. I don't know how that's possible. I can't really tell you much about this because I don't know anything about it. You have the house that has ruled this place for 1,000 years. You have a queen. Yeah, it's just epic fantasy. You have a person who's an outsider, and she's a lady in waiting. So interesting. I'm here for all of the sapphic vibes. So that's that one. The next one is more gayness, and that is The Sunbearer Trials by Aiden Thomas. I really loved Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas and wanted to read more. When I saw that they do this, and this is going to be pulling in a lot of different mythology, I was happy for it. And I bought it right away, very impulsively. The sun's power must be replenished so that the sun can keep traveling along the sky and keep the chaotic Exhibian gods at bay. Sol selects 10 of the most worthy semi-dioses. That is really weird word to pronounce. I'm sorry. Yeah, and it's queer. And I'm here. This is what we can take away from this. I'm always down for queer stuff. So that's this one. Oh, and this is also like was in the running for the Goodreads Choice Awards and did not get us nearly as far as I thought it would. But yeah, I'm here for this. I'm really excited to read that one at some point this year. The next one is another one that I'm really excited for that is also gay, and that is Brickmakers. This is by Selva Almada. This is a translation, and I did not know that it was a Spanish translation, because if it was, if I did know that before I ordered it, I'd have just gotten the original Spanish. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to love this enough to want to buy it in 2 languages. So I'm stuck with this one. This one doesn't have an audiobook, which is fine, but this is gay. It's essentially a retelling of Romeo and Juliet with a very heavy emphasis on machismo. And all of the toxicness and toxicity that goes along with that. I'm here for it. Super here for it. It's about 2 rival brickmaker families in this one town. And I am hyped. Anyway, next one is another queer one. Surprise, surprise. And that is The Bone Shard Daughter by Andrea Stewart. Did I just buy this because I was looking at books and wanting to buy books and saw that this one was gay and bought it? Yes. That is exactly what happened. So we have, and I know it's fantasy, but we have an emperor's reign who's lasted decades. He has his mastery of bone shard magic. I think it's like passed on to like his daughter or something like that, but he is falling. And, ooh, yeah. So his daughter does have this magic, but there is tensions between the two, and he doesn't want to pass on the magic. So, interesting. And this one's sapphic, I know that much. All right, let's see if my tea has cooled down. It has. It's very yummy. Okay. Next, we have the aforementioned other C.S.B. Cat book, and this is The Prince's Gambit. This is the second book in the Captive Prince trilogy, which I have loved. I really like this. This is the book where their romance really gets to start. I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed this whole series. Yeah, huge fan. Next book that I got is a short story collection, and that is Nightfall. This is by Isaac Asimov, and this is a selection of his short stories that Isaac Asimov has written for science fiction. And yeah, I am a huge fan of Asimov. Haven't got to read more than just I, Robot, but I do want to at some point. Yeah, and yeah, was gathering up all of the Asimov books that I could find, and it's a short story collection. Continuing on, we have Mediocre by Ijeoma Olu. I know how to pronounce this word now. I'm so happy. And this really talks about the dangers that come with the idea of mediocrity and the expectations of mediocrity for specifically white middle class men. The subtext is the dangerous legacy of the white male in America and the problems that arises. And I wasn't originally intending to read this, but then people at my work were talking about how good it is, and I was like, okay, so I need to pick this up to read this, because maybe this will help me understand maybe some of my colleagues how to navigate in the world with white men, and maybe kind of help some of my students. I don't know. So that's why I got this one. It is a non-fiction, and I do not think that it is gay. You never know. Continuing on to this book. This is 10 minutes and 38 seconds in This Strange World by Elif Shrank. And so it's about this woman who I think dies. Oh yes, she's been murdered. Right, and so she is alive. She's still alive for like 10 minutes and 38 seconds. And I think this whole book kind of takes place within those 10 minutes and 38 seconds. This has been all over like fiction recently in the past couple of years. It was in the running for the Booker Prize. It was in the running for the BookTube Prize. And I saw this at like a free little library somewhere, and I was like, okay, I'm going to pick this up and I'm going to give it a try, because I have been super intrigued. It just takes me a lot to get interested in some of this more literary fiction. But I don't know if this is gay. So there you go. I feel like a lot of the books that I'm going to talk about coming up next are going to be a lot more literary, or I got for literary reasons. And this next one is A Ladder to the Sky by John Boyne. This is actually the very first winner for the BookTube Prize, and I was going on a whole like stint of I want to own and have all of the winners for all of the like sections for the prize. I easily had all of the winners for the nonfiction. I just hadn't for the fiction, and this one won the very first year. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it a try. I know that John Boyne has some iffy things in his history and some of the problematic stuff that he chooses to write, especially about the Holocaust. So it makes me like real hesitant to want to pick up this book actually, but I kind of feel like a completionist, and I feel like it is an important book if I'm going to have like a little like BookTube Prize section on my bookshelf, that this be included. So yeah, I have no idea what this is about. What is this about? Lawrence Swift is handsome, charming, hungry for time. One thing he's missing is talent. Moving to Manhattan to London, preys on the talented and vulnerable, and cold-hearted climb to the top. Interesting. Okay. About a suave sociopath, that's what somebody says. Interesting. We'll see how I feel about it in the end. So moving right along, we have Invisible Child. This is Poverty, Survival, and Hope in an American City. This is by Andrea Elliott. I do not remember if this is nonfiction or not. I think that I have been super confused. Nevertheless, okay, this is tracing, so I think this is nonfiction, because you're following this young girl who is tracing her family's like history from slavery to the Great Migration North, which is talk about when not Native Americans, oh my god, when African Americans were moving north, right, after sort of like emancipation. Interesting. So my students had to read this for nonfictions, I believe, in that English class, and all my students were raving about this, and I was like, okay, it was really good, and I wanted to pick this up, and I wanted to pick this up because of that, and I want to read all of the books that my students have to read eventually, but I have a feeling that list is just going to keep getting longer and longer, because I have hit several roadblocks in this past year that has prevented me from reading as much as I want to of these books. So hopefully next year, either we don't get a whole bunch of new books, or I got a lot of summer reading to do. Yeah. So it's been fun reading them so far, and I've got a whole bag of books that I still have not read through, so that I got to read through. So, bleh. Okay, the next book that I've read is Neon Yang. This is the Genesis of Mystery. This is queer sci-fi. I bought this because it was queer sci-fi, and I like the author. I haven't read any of their like longer form nonfiction. I've read a couple of short stories by them, and I've liked those. And so I'm like, okay, we're gonna be branching out. Excuse me, I am tired. I'm gonna be branching out into some longer form fiction, and yeah, the author was just is trans, and I was like, ooh, I want gay shit in my home, and that's why I bought it. I am so boring and predictable. Okay, the next book is another book that I've read, and that is Lore Olympus Volume 3. This covers, which ones? 50 to 75. I feel like eventually I'm going to have an entire shelf of just all the Lore Olympus stuff as the stuff gets published, because it is not coming out fast enough. That is my problem. I know it's all on Webtoons, and I've read well past chapter 75 on Webtoons. I'm just rereading all of this as they come out. So this is volume 3. And I pre-ordered all the ones that you can pre-order. So I'm impatient. That is my problem. Impatience. Alright, next book is another literary choice. The Love Songs of W.E.B. Du Bois. This is by Honoré Fanlone Jeffers, and I do think this one won the Goodreads Choice, not the Goodreads Choice, the BookTube Prize last year in the category of fiction, and it already seemed interesting to me before. I know this is like a romance. I did not expect it to be this thick, cause oh goodness, this is a thick boy. Yeah, so what is this about? Talks about double consciousness. Ooh. Okay, so it's about Alvin Ailey and her great-grandmother, Pearl. Ooh, maybe this isn't a romance. Maybe this is just a historical fiction. I'm not remembering off the top of my head, but I do also know that this was in the running for the Goodreads Choice Awards as well, which is kind of where this caught my eye, personally. The next book is another literary one, and that is The Anomaly. This is by Hervé Letellier, and this is another fiction. This is about a bunch of people who get on a plane. It's about a bunch of people, they get on a plane, and then all of a sudden, yeah, I think they like reappear either several hours later, or they're displaced in time. This is a work of translated fiction. This is one that my students had to read for a class. I don't remember which one. I think it's an English class. They all loved it, thought it was really, really good. And bonus points because this also won the BookTube Prize for translated fiction. So I was like, okay, all the signs are telling me that I must buy this book, and I am actually excited to read this, and will probably get around to reading this at some point in the future. The next book is Lore. This is a YA story retelling of Greek myth. What story is this retelling? I don't know. Okay. So the I don't know. It's definitely inspired by Greek myth. But basically you have these 9 gods who are forced to walk the earth as humans. And they're at threat by people who want to kill them. And you're following Lore Perseus. Did I impulsively buy this? Yes. Partially because of the cover. Yes. But I think basically Lore is trying to murder these people who murdered part of her family, and their just families have been at war. Or there's just been a lot of animosity between the two. And it's complicated because I think they are tied to gods, which makes everything crazy. So, yeah, that's this one. Lore. Do not think it's gay, but I don't know. Who knows? The next one is Girl, Woman, Other. This one I did buy because this was in the running for the BookTube prize, and I think it won, and I cannot for the life of me remember which one this won. 2022. Yeah, so I've been this like for more than 3 years. I do not remember which year this won, but it won. I think this won 2020. I'm bad, but this won for fiction. Obviously, Girl, Woman, Other, and this one is also queer. This is talking about womanhood, blah, 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 blah. It's very intersectional. It's like half of this description back here is just talking about its accolades, which is like nice, but like what is it about? Okay, so we have a lesbian playwright, non-binary social media influencer. So it's gay. So yeah, again, this is another one of those books where it's like, why did people tell me it was gay earlier? I read it earlier. Like, what the heck? People just need to tell me shit is gay and I'll read it for the most part. Asterisks. Maybe. Okay, we got 2 books left. And I'm hoping they're going to kind of go quickly. This next one is Hammett. This is by Maggie O'Farrell. This is interesting. Because it's about Shakespeare's wife. And it's really focused on her, and yeah, it's like a reimagination, a novelization of their life during specifically the Black Death in 1580. And there are themes of like motherhood and love and all that sort of stuff. So that's this. This also won the BookTube prize, I want to say in 2020, but I don't know for sure. It's a little bit embarrassing that I do not know these off the top of my head. But yeah, that's why I got that. So I'm slowly, as this prize continues going and I keep participating in it, I will continue to buy these books. Yeah, these are so like literary. Like I don't think I would have picked up some of these, but I'm going to try them. I'm going to try them. Put in the good old college try. The last one is we have Foundation's Edge. This is in the Foundation series. I'm picking these up because they're like less than $9 at Trident Booksellers, which is like one of my favorite bookstores in Boston. And this one is the 4th book in the series, and I have a lot of them so far. I am collecting them. Yeah, I think I have 4 of the 7 books so far that they just keep going on sale. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to buy them. I do not know what this is about specifically because I've not started Foundations. It's up on my shelf. I do need to start it at some time, but I have not yet. So, it's another one, Isaac Asimov, which I know I'm going to like because I am a fan. Alright, so there you go. Those are the 20-ish books that I have gotten. I still have one more to show you because I have a problem. At least I did last year, and I totaled it up, and I read more than like or I didn't read more. I bought more than 290 books last year. So we got a lot of books to go through. And I am embarrassed to say, but I think a lot of that was from the second half of the year when I moved to Boston, because I just wouldn't have a lot to do on the weekends. Let me know, what did you guys think of the books that I bought? Do you also have a book buying problem? Let me know. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I'm probably going to go lie down and sleep. Good news though, it's a snow day tomorrow, so I don't have to wake up early. Good for me, which probably means I'm going to edit this video, hence why I'm filming it now.